Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Trent. I am sitting here, as always, with the one and only Betsy.
It felt like you were talking so fast just now.
I wasn't really
We're in a
talking
hurry,
fast,
we
and then
gotta
we're
go.
going to go down low and slow as we do, Betsy. We are here to talk about yet another movie we have not seen. It's a new month, too. This is September, or is it? That's where you say, no, it isn't, Trent.
No, it isn't, Trent.
No.
I know my cues. I know my lines.
It is not September, Betsy. We are celebrating JEFFTEMBER from now until whenever we decide it's not JEFFTEMBER anymore.
Well, we said 5 weeks in the last episode, but we don't understand how weeks work in
Calendars
September.
are weird.
It's 4 weeks.
We're doing 4 weeks filled with movies starring the one and only Jeff Bridges. Now, I don't know about you, Betsy, but Jeff Bridges did not really enter my life until about 2002 when I watched the movie K-Pax. That was the first Jeff Bridges movie I have ever seen.
That is such an odd introduction to Jeff Bridges.
I know, but you know what? K-Pax is not a bad movie. Say what you will about, the other star of the movie, but I like K-Pax, okay?
I saw it. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Anyway, we're not talking about K-Pax today. We're talking about the 1991 movie, The Fisher King, starring Jeff Bridges and Robin Williams.
Yeah, there are so many movies of Jeff Bridges that we have seen, and yet for some reason, this is one that neither of us has ever watched.
Yeah.
And until we watched a trailer for it, deciding what we would include in this series, I apparently didn't know what this was about.
No, because you think about the Fisher King, it doesn't explain what it is.
It doesn't mean anything. A Fisher King is a bird, Trent. It doesn't look like it has anything to do with birds.
Probably not.
And then when we read the description and saw the trailer, we were like, this is not what we were expecting.
Definitely not. And again, after we watched the trailer, when we were kind of trolling around for Jeff Bridges type movies where he's at least one of the stars, if not the star. And then we discovered, geez, this is a Terry Gilliam movie, so it's probably going to be really weird. It's Robin Williams not being a standard Robin Williams character that you're used to. This might be one of his first movies where he isn't just a flamboyant guy.
It's a little bit darker, like tonally.
Yeah.
When we read the description, we were like, what? It's something to do with like a mass murder or something?
Yeah.
I don't even remember now. I kind of blocked it because I blacked out after I read it and I was like, excuse me?
I have a feeling this movie is going to be very focused on redemption because I fully believe that these two people that we're talking about, they got into some shit and they've maybe fallen on some really hard times.
Yeah, so realistically, I don't know anything beyond what was in the trailer for the film.
Yeah.
But Jeff Bridges is one of these guys who is just endlessly charming. He has a very specific kind of appeal to me, and I'm interested in anything that he is in. And he's been in some stinkers, and he has been in some incredible movies. But the thing that is always consistent is him. He is good in everything he's in, even if the movie is terrible. We did the Revisionist Almanac a few months ago for 1976, and I watched 2 Jeff Bridges movies from 1976 for prepping for that. One was the remake of King Kong that he is in, and the other is Arnold Schwarzenegger's first movie called Stay Hungry.
Yeah.
The movies are not good, but he is so adorable in them that I couldn't help but still enjoy anytime he was at least on the screen. So I don't know what to expect with this movie, but I do expect that I'm going to enjoy his presence in the movie.
And as we said when we announced what we're doing in September, this will be the first time we are ever covering a Robin Williams movie on this podcast. However, we did cover Mrs. Doubtfire over on our movie club on Patreon because it's just a fantastic movie and he's fantastic in it. So along with Jeff Bridges, this is also going to be our first foray into covering a Robin Williams movie. So we're definitely going to be talking about him. But Betsy, this is JEFFTEMBER. We got to kick it off with The Fisher King. We're going to go watch it and we'll be right back. And we have returned from the fields seeking the Holy Grail. Betsy, how are you feeling after The Fisher King?
If I had a nickel for every time Terry Gilliam directed a movie about the Holy Grail, I'd have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so Terry Gilliam is a well-known, bizarro kind of director. He is not a traditional sort of director by any means. And when we started this movie, I was like, oh, fuck, is this going to be one of those weird movies? Like, we could have put this in the weird movie series.
Right.
But then there's a turn that happens. And all of a sudden, this became a really moving, lovely, and sort of magical movie.
Betsy, I was just going to say the phrase, this is a magical fairy tale that
Yeah.
is completely unexpected.
I thought, oh my God, like when Robin Williams appears, he's like the king of the hobos or something. I'm like, I don't know what this is. It's very strange.
Right.
And then you find out what happened to him and why he is like this. And Jeff Bridges is trying to, make amends. And they go on this journey together. And I was getting so fucking emotional at different points of the movie. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Terry Gilliam, where did this come from? Because this is not the director I have seen. Like, I've not seen all his movies, so I'm sure it would surprise me to find he's got many more like this.
Sure.
But I'm just used to him being like a little weirdo and not create this moving, magical movie that The Fisher King is.
One of the things that I read in the trivia, and I told you before we started recording, is Terry Gilliam has 3 rules in his filmmaking life. Number 1, he'll only make a movie that is based on his own script. Number 2, he would not work with a major studio. This is TriStar Pictures, a major studio. And number 3, he would not work in America. He broke all 3 rules of his filmmaking career in order to make this movie. It spoke to him so much that he said, you know what? No, I don't care about my own rules. This is a masterpiece that I need to make.
And I'm so glad he did, because truly, I have not seen too many of his movies, but the ones I've seen are things like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is a bizarro fucking movie. And that's his style. And I know that a lot of the other things like Monty Python, obviously.
Of course.
And The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, I haven't seen, but I've heard it's insane. Brazil is supposed to be really crazy. 12 Monkeys. All of these are movies that by reputation are really out there. And so when The Fisher King started, I thought, oh, yeah, this is definitely Terry Gilliam, because we're using like the weird, almost fisheye lens, and we're really close up, and these crazy angles, and it's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot all at once to process.
And this is very reminiscent of other Terry Gilliam stuff that we had seen in the past with, like you said, the weird Dutch angles, the weird lenses where you're also way up into people's faces as they're speaking to each other.
He loves a creepy close-up.
Yeah. So early on in the movie, I just did not know what I was getting myself into, because, man, is this going to be like these down and out people? Is Jeff Bridges going to become like the Robin Williams character, and eventually he's going to not only bring himself but Robin Williams outside of the gutter? But no, it's not that. It is a story about guilt. It is a story about redemption. It is a story about forgiveness, not only of other people but of yourself. I just wasn't expecting to have this movie affect me the way it does.
Exactly. And at the end of the movie, when you think, oh God, Jeff Bridges has learned nothing. He has just moved on and he's walking away. Like, he feels better. He feels like his old self. So he's just going to go right back to his shitty ways.
He's breaking up with the girlfriend, and he is walking directly back into the same studio where he was working in. He has the same agent as before. He's going to get this cable show where literally it is going to be a comedy about homeless people. Are you kidding me?
But they like being homeless, Trent. That's the whole thing. It's lighthearted. It's fun.
This wise old homeless guy who is gonna be spouting off of the mouth and saying some wisdom to the camera. And it's at that moment that he realizes, I'm not done. I was reminded of this guy who was yelling at me saying, I know you. I know you. We had spent so much time together. He runs out because he he knows that there is unfinished business. And now he has, I don't know, the capacity to actually fulfill it. His business is not done in that world.
I feel like you could read this as a little bit of an allusion to the Bible, because there is a part after they arrest Jesus that one of the apostles, he gets confronted in the street saying, I know you. And he's like, you don't know me, man. I never
Yeah.
met that Jesus guy. I don't know what that's about. I feel like there's probably some connection to that since
100%.
since we're tying it to the Holy Grail and allegories of that kind.
Yes.
And it's not until he's confronted with that guy that he's like, shit, I'm not done. You're right. I'm not done. I got to go and see how to resolve this. And he's mad about it. Like, he's still in that denial phase of, I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad person. Even though he knows deep down he feels guilt about what he did.
He goes to confront the catatonic body of Robin Williams in that hospital, saying, he's basically arguing with himself, saying, I'm not going to be guilty about this. Don't make me do this. God damn it, I'm going to do this. He eventually convinces himself that, yes, I'm going to take care of you. And two, I'm going to go steal the Holy Grail from a dead man, at least almost dead man.
Yeah, is that what you fucking want? Will that make you happy? Will that make you finally come out of your catatonic state? Like, what will it take?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. Well, what if I did do it?
Right. This is the one thing that Robin Williams' character asked him to do. Help me get the Holy Grail so that whatever the end result is, he just needs to have it.
And that's what gives it this kind of magical quality, like fate and destiny, where of all the people that he could have run into on the street, Jeff Bridges runs into a guy who survived this massacre that he feels responsible for causing.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't pull the trigger, he was the guy that effectively incited the shooter. And so he's feeling guilty about that. And he feels like there is this certain fate that he has run into this particular person. And Robin Williams feels it is you who is going to get the Holy Grail.
You are the one.
You're the
You're
one.
the only person who can help me with this.
He doesn't explain why. He just knows it in his gut. He says,
Yeah.
I was tasked with a holy mission from God, and you are the guy. They said they would send me the guy. You're the guy. I can't do it. You got to do it.
I never thought of Jeff Bridges as a prophet.
I'm just saying. And then when he finally decides to do it, the old man, the billionaire, is having an accidental overdose, and it saves his life.
Right.
Because he decided at this moment to do this thing he didn't want to do in the first place, he gets to be a hero. He doesn't get to claim the credit for it, but he knows that he saved this guy's life by setting off the alarm and running out the front door, leaving it open.
Yeah. It was very intentional.
That's what I'm saying. There's like this air of destiny and, like you kind of said, fairy tale.
Yeah.
You know, there's something about like these great old stories, you know, King Arthur and the Round Table and things like that have such power to them and have lasted for hundreds and hundreds of years.
It's also, it's this quality of, I have a task, I have a mission, I have a duty in my life to fulfill whatever it happens to be. I have been tasked with this thing and I haven't fulfilled it yet. And Jeff Bridges, being a modern man, he says here one of the most devastating lines I think is in the entire movie. He says to the girlfriend when he's feeling really guilty, I wish I could just pay the fine and go home. Yes, I did this horrible thing and I just want to pay my penance and move on with my life. But no, there is more that you need to do in order to make amends.
Yeah, his instinct is money. Money and power. That's where
Sure.
he comes from. So he thinks, I will just buy my way out of my sins.
This
I will
is
buy
New York
my
City.
penance.
I'm a big shot. Yeah.
But he has to really get into it before he can actually let go. The other thing I was kind of thinking about before I forget this thought, the thing about having a mission and, you know, you're the knight and this is going on.
Yeah.
Terry Gilliam has a well-known fascination with Don Quixote.
Yes.
Because he tried to make a whole movie about it and
Yep.
it was a disaster. He did finally make it years and years later with Adam Driver.
Yep.
I have to imagine he is also bringing some of that to this, which is why when he read the script, he said, it's my Don Quixote.
I must do this.
It's 1991. I haven't fulfilled my dream of making Don Quixote. This is it.
Yeah. And you know, at its core, this is a really, really sad story of not only the Jeff Bridges character going through whatever he was going through and being horrified at a thing that he said on the radio, a very innocuous thing because, hey, he's playing a character and this is what I do for a living, man. And this is just what other people do. Literally, the character that he is playing here is based on Howard Stern.
Sure.
They even wanted to have Howard Stern give them some tapes that they could not play, but to learn like how he does things and
his cadence, his response,
all of that stuff. They wanted Howard Stern to participate in this, and it was a weird back and forth. Howard Stern didn't really want to get involved, and it just didn't work. I mean, it comes through in the movie that clearly he is trying to be a shock jock of a sort. But he gets this news just by chance. He turned on the TV and there's this news report of this guy, and it's actually his voice. His voice is echoing on the television and he's hearing it. And of course he's going to look at the TV.
He says, "Oh, it's me. I'm on TV."
Right.
How exciting for me.
I'm about to go off and do this big thing.
I'm going to be a big star.
Yeah. Finally, it's not going to be just my voice. It's going to be my face as well because nobody knows me yet except for my voice. He's not on television yet like Howard Stern was.
And in 91,
yes,
certainly nobody would know a DJ's face.
Right. But you can just see it on his face. All of his career is completely eroding away because of what I said on the radio. And somebody is inspired to go off and do this horrific thing that causes a cascading effect to have this other man, the Robin Williams character, completely lose it. He loses his wife, his beautiful wife that he is madly in love with, in a way that I don't think anybody could recover from. The Big Red Knight is an amalgamation of the fire that is coming from the shotgun and the bloody mess that was her face.
Yeah, when you actually see that played out in the movie, you suddenly realize why he's so terrified of this Red Knight. And again, that's very much a thing that Terry Gilliam is good at. Like this fantasy that he's playing out in his head that nobody else can see. Because Terry Gilliam is so good in this little wheelhouse, he can really make that terror very real for the audience.
Yeah. And after you kind of put two and two together, that this is the thing that is chasing him around and he can never get away from, you realize that, yes, this image that is burned into his brain of his wife being shot, and again, all of his life just draining away from him at a moment's notice. How does a person recover from that? And how can you not, as an observer, how can you not be empathetic to somebody like that? When even today people are talking about, what to do about homeless people or unhoused people, whatever name you want to put on it. How can you not just try to be empathetic to whatever it is that caused them to have this condition?
Yeah, the guy lets him live in the boiler room because he feels bad for him because he used to be in one of the apartments with his wife. He knew the situation.
He knew him.
And going back to this Red Knight, he's so scared of him, but it just demonstrates the effect that Jack has on the situation.
Yeah.
Because when Jack comes over and tries to help Perry, the Red Knight starts running away. And Perry is suddenly like, "Oh my God, we're winning. We're winning."
Perry starts to chase him.
He's afraid of you, and we're going to get him out of here.
Yeah.
And they run through Central Park, and they get him out of there. And he's just so proud. It's the first time he's been able to make the Red Knight go away.
Yeah. And at that moment, I think he trusts Jeff Bridges. He knows that he's not there to hurt him. He knows that, this is even after he tries to pay him. There are two different people who are trying to heal in their own way. Jeff Bridges is trying to get a very cheap heal by just trying to pay him off, saying, "Hey, I'm done with you. I've given you my money. Clearly that's what you need in order to, not be crazy and homeless. So here's all the money I have. Goodbye. It was nice to meet you." But it's so much more complicated for Perry, and I'm not here to say I have the answers as to what he should have gone through or what is needed of him. I'm not a doctor, but he clearly needs some kind of mental help.
And he had it, but then they kind of just said, "Okay, you're done. You're healed. You're out of your coma. Bye." And they kicked him out the door.
Yeah.
So then he's living in the basement, out on the streets, and this is the most human interaction he's had in 3 years. Because they say at the beginning, from the beginning of the movie to now, it's 3 years. So this guy has been going through a lot. He was a college professor. He was a totally normal person who just went through a really horrific event. And the journey these two go on together, like when they're in Central Park and he says, it's the middle of the night. Let's get naked and move the clouds. Like, but it only works if you're naked. And Robin Williams is dancing around butt-ass naked.
Literally.
Literally. And Jeff Bridges is just like, no, I will not engage. I will not do this with you. But by the end of the movie, the two of them are laying naked in the park. And
Just having a grand time.
And he feels like maybe he's a little bit nuts because he says, did I do that? Did I make the clouds move?
Yep.
And Robin Williams tells him, no, what the hell are you talking about? It's the wind.
There's even a moment here where Jeff Bridges infiltrates the castle and he even has the vision of the person with the gun.
Yeah, he somehow, through this whole process, gets so close to it that he starts seeing things and experiencing things outside of himself.
Because even he has a modicum of guilt inside of him for inspiring that guy in the first place.
But he does it, and he gets that fucking cup, and it's just some trophy from the 1930s.
Right.
And it gets him to wake up. And that moment when he's like, okay, fine, here's your fucking cup. No, you gonna wake up? You gonna wake up? Oh, you're gonna think about it for a while. And so he just lays down and goes to sleep.
Yeah.
And that close up on his face when Robin Williams wakes up and he says, you did it, thank you. Can I just, move on now?
I had a dream.
I had a dream.
I had a wife and you were there.
And he's just laying there with the fucking tear going down his face. I'm just like, oh,
He
goddamn.
says,
Goddamn.
can I miss her now?
Not.
Can I miss her now? It's so sad.
It broke me, Trent.
It's so fucking
It broke
sad.
me. And then the next scene, he's conducting a choir of all the residents.
Yes.
And Jeff is just standing there singing along, or he's conducting the choir.
Yeah.
It's this wonderful journey they go on together. But it's so unexpected because, as I said in the intro, I didn't really know what this movie was. And when you just watch the trailer or read the description, you're not expecting this to move you the way this movie
Absolutely not.
connected with me.
Absolutely not. I am very, very surprised and impressed by everybody. And this just goes to show you that Robin Williams wasn't just a goofy guy who can be flamboyant and big and loud and hairy. No, he was an incredible actor who can make, oh God, he makes you forget that he's Robin Williams, the guy who was the genie, the guy who was the big gay flamboyant guy in that other movie.
The Birdcage.
Birdcage, thank you. He convinces you that he is this man, and that is at its core what acting is. And I could keep on going and talking about Good Will Hunting and why he deserved to win that Oscar. And every time I watch that movie, I cry. I cry so much after I watch that movie. And I cried during this movie as well. So, wow. And I know this is a series about Jeff Bridges, but Robin Williams here is carrying this movie when in reality, this should be the Jeff Bridges show. No, Robin Williams just kind of takes over.
There is a shift where, yes, we are with Jeff Bridges. He is setting up the story, but then he sort of steps back. He takes a step back and he does let it become the Robin Williams show. And not every actor is okay with that. A lot of actors are like, well, I'm the lead in this, right? No, he becomes the supporting actor at a certain point in this movie.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams is the one who ends up being nominated for Best Lead Actor at the Academy Awards. I was really surprised by that because I didn't know this had been nominated for any Academy Awards, frankly. And it's the kind of movie where you're like, well, he doesn't even show up for half an hour.
Yeah.
Why is he the lead? But then as you watch it unfold and you see how it shifts and he becomes the focal point, you're like, oh my God, no, I totally see it. And you were talking about Good Will Hunting. There are so many threads and connections for what he is doing in that movie and what he's doing in this. It's all about his wife. And he taps into some emotional places with that particular storyline that just ruin you watching him. And when he is actually in a place where he's ready to move on, he doesn't even remember he had a wife, but he finds this other woman who he's just infatuated with. And she's awkward and he's awkward. And it's the most adorable confession of him saying, I love you. I'm in love with you. And these are all the things I know about you.
And you would think that him reciting all of these kind of creepy things that he's been doing over and over again.
I've basically been stalking
observing you from afar. You would think that she would be put off by that. But no, she is, accepting it and realizing, oh, this is the man that I'm supposed to be with, regardless of anything else having to do with him.
It's because she lives this sad beige existence. She literally
Yes.
wears beige.
Yes.
And she thinks she's the most unremarkable, unnoticed person. And they demonstrate it. She can't even get through the fucking door. People just shove her like she's invisible.
Yeah.
She can't get in the door, so she ends up going around because she's been pushed through the turnstile.
I mean, think about how people are, observing and trying to ignore homeless people on the side of the road,
I'm sure that is part of it. I'm sure that is exactly what he's saying here. And he sees her and she just wants to be seen. And that's why this works on her, because she's like, wow, no, you actually do see me in a way no one else does.
When she is reciting like how she thinks that this is gonna go, all of the romance books that she's read, all of the romance movies she's maybe seen, you're going to come up, we're going to do something, you're going to leave very awkwardly, we're going to exchange phone numbers, and I'm never going to see you again, even though I'm going to go to work the next day and feel really good for a couple of hours, but then it is going to come over me, I'm never going to see you again. And my life is going to continue on this way for the rest of my life. But no, he says, I would have been over the moon just to get a kiss from you. I had no intention of coming up. I don't even like coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
He says it 4 times. I don't drink coffee.
But I would be ecstatic to just be in your presence and see you again tomorrow.
And as she's just like welling up with tears, I am also just like, come on.
The moment where she steps down the steps and gets so close to him. Yeah. I also melted. But Betsy, I think this is a good enough time here. Let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. We have many more things to talk about for the Fisher King. We'll be right back.
What's the matter, Billy? You look bored just sitting there clicking that pen.
Well, Becky, I've already listened to this week's episode of Never Seen It, and there's nothing left for me to do. Guess I'll just sit here and click this pen until next Sunday.
Wait, Billy. What if I told you that the Never Seen It crew puts out 4 other shows every month?
4 shows? How do I get those?
It's easy. Just go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, and for $5 per month, you get access to all their extra content.
Wow, that sounds a whole lot better than clicking this pen.
It sure does, Billy. It sure does.
So, of course, this being Jefftember, Betsy, we have to talk about Jeff Bridges. So, how are you feeling here? He's introduced as this radio DJ. It's a call-in show he has, and he's got big plans to be this huge star. And then this happens. What did you think about his arc here? What did you think about just the acting in general?
Oh, I loved him opposite Robin Williams, because at the beginning of the film, he is such an asshole.
Yes.
He is definitely like, it's all about me, the me show. My girlfriend is stupid. I don't need her. I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be a star. And he's not even paying attention to what's going on in the world. But you can tell he's got a fucking conscience somewhere inside of him, because the second he sees on TV what happened and he hears his own voice played back to him, he covers his face and goes, oh my God.
Just look at his face and you could see his eyes kind of trembling, saying, oh my God, what have I done?
Jeff Bridges has this great face for reacting. His eyes get so big and you can convey so much through just his eyes. Not every actor can do it, but he can absolutely do it. And he has such a ride throughout the film, because first he's an asshole. Then he's completely guilt-stricken. Then it's 3 years later and he's suicidal and an alcoholic. And he is ready to end it all because of all his guilt.
He turns into a self-centered, bitter drunk. That's essentially what I was thinking about him here. And in the moment they're watching the TV, and the guy who ends up getting the job that he was auditioning for, or he was going to get the job, is Harry Shearer. And he just says, well, this show sucks because it's not me. He's not funny. He doesn't know what funny is.
But he's also watching it to punish himself.
Yes.
To torture himself of what he could have had. But he fucked it all up. I did it to myself.
Yeah. it's a way of self-punishment because he still feels the guilt and he hasn't really processed it yet.
And when he comes across Perry and he wakes up in his little boiler room home and it's just like, okay, this guy is talking to invisible cherubs, like little people
Yep.
who speak to him. And he's talking about having a vision on the toilet.
He whips out his F-150 sword.
Yeah,
I
this
love
guy,
that.
he's just like, he is off his rocker. I need to get the hell out of here.
But at
Where
the
are my
sa-
shoes?
But at the same time, I feel like he can see something there. He witnesses the shrine that he has for, I think, his wife.
I think it's for his wife, which is why he's
Yeah.
like, you're not allowed back there.
There's stuff here about it's a Chinese food takeout tin and soy sauce and just other paraphernalia that is from his previous life. And he says, you do not go back there. This is not for you.
But also, you're the one, but you're not ready to hear about it yet.
Yeah.
So it gives you this idea of, you know, again, he knows something you don't know. There is a destiny that awaits you. It's all those movies where the student becomes the teacher and there's this magical transition that happens, but you're not ready for it yet. And of course, the second Jeff Bridges finds out who this guy is and why he's living here, that guilt comes back and he just finds different ways to keep trying to help him.
Yeah.
First, it's money. Then it's, let's help you meet this woman and we're going to set it all up. We're going to doctor this situation. But when it goes awry, when Perry gets attacked and is back in his comatose state, it's too much for him and he retreats again, even though he was doing well. He's like calling up his agent.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm going to get back to work. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm going back to work. I'm calling up my agent who I haven't talked to for years, and he's going to get him back on the air. They just are waiting for his call, and he essentially reverts back to being an asshole. And I'm like, no, I don't want that from you.
But he does care. Like there's the moment where Perry is showing him, here's the house, and this is the mission, and you got to go in this castle.
This is fucking castle. What
And
the
he's
fuck?
telling him, no, you can't do this. And Perry says, you care. He realizes, you don't want me to get hurt. You care.
Yeah.
And while Jack might not interpret it that way, that's exactly what it is. He
Yes.
does care. Even though he seems like he's an uncaring asshole with his sunglasses, is just like, what the fuck? I'm getting out of here.
Yeah,
I'm not
I don't want to
dealing
be
with this.
seen with you. I don't
No.
want to be anywhere near you, but I have to.
But it's that thing about destinies getting intertwined. If he doesn't go all the way with this storyline, he will never be the same person. He will never fully recover from what happened 3 years ago. And Jack does this insane thing, even though he's not even sure why he's doing it, and it works. He finds himself at a place where he is able to go back to his girlfriend and say the thing he couldn't say before. I love you. I'm an imperfect person. Please let me back in your life.
Okay, as long as we're talking about this moment in his life here. He's got his job back. He's back on the radio. He's got his agent. He pulls up to the big expensive building in the limo and he goes up there and they're talking about this television cable show. Do you think that he gives all of that up here and says, no, I can't be on the radio again because it brings out this very negative thing about me? Does he then go back to his girlfriend and say, I'm going to work in the video shop with you. I'm going to live in this apartment with you because, damn it, I don't need any of that other stuff.
I like to believe he does. They don't really show it, but
No.
he runs out of that meeting and is like, what the fuck am I doing here? This is
Yeah.
all wrong. I got to go back
For
and
a
be with
lot of reasons.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But he goes back and he tries to find Perry and he goes on this mission and he's helping people and he's making a difference. And that's all the stuff that he has to work on about himself to be able to go back to his girlfriend. And I feel like she lives in her own world. She runs a video store. You know, it's a very 1991 niche sort of activity.
Yep.
And he doesn't live in that world. So I feel like he has to give it up to really be invested in her. So yes, probably he does. And I like that for him because he's a piece of shit when he's on the radio. But Jeff Bridges is able to carry all this. He's a really, really good actor. And we're going to talk down the road about when he finally does win an Academy Award. He did not get nominated for this because, like we said, it becomes the Robin Williams show. But that's okay.
Not that he couldn't have.
Not that he couldn't have.
It could have been a co-lead. I mean, if they were to have submitted him, I would have submitted him as lead. Same as Robin Williams. He is a co-lead here.
Yes, and it doesn't make sense for him to be supporting, even though he does most of the supporting as we advance through the movie, as I said. He sort of takes a back seat. But it's perfect. It shouldn't be any more Jack, because the idea is Jack cannot be Jack until he helps Perry.
Right.
And once he helps Perry, that's when we get more of him.
I could probably surmise that in the script, the Jack character is a bigger deal, but because Robin Williams is such a presence, not only in movies, but everything else that he's ever been in, because he's such a presence here, he kind of has to be put into it more. But because he has such a presence about him and your eyes are immediately drawn to Robin Williams and everything that he is doing and saying, it's kind of a natural consequence of him being in the movie to have him be a bigger deal.
Which is why I'm saying Jeff Bridges is a good counterpoint to him, because he does have some restraint. He can be this really wacky guy. We're still a few years off from The Big Lebowski, but there were notes of it I was catching throughout this. Like that kind of weirdness that he taps into in a few years when he makes that movie.
Yeah.
He taps into it here. Terry Gilliam is dragging it out of him.
I did clock him saying man
he did.
Once.
We got one
here.
man.
The long hair. And apparently, I read this in the trivia as well, he wears a t-shirt in this movie that he wears in Lebowski.
Of course he does.
I think it's a baseball shirt or something like that.
Yeah, there are traces of the dude in this character.
Yeah.
But we just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I think it's like a Japanese kind of it's got some kind of Japanese text on it, if I'm remembering right from this movie. I haven't seen Lebowski that many times, but I have seen it. Just to kind of let you guys know, we're not going to be covering Lebowski on this series.
Because we've both watched it,
We've both
sorry.
seen it, yes. We're
we
going to be covering...
desperately wanted to, but it breaks the one rule of our show.
That's right. And if you don't know, the rule is we can't have already seen the movie. If both of us have seen it, we can't cover the movie on this show. If you want us to talk about movies that we really like that we've seen many times, go to Patreon and listen to our movie club episodes. Anyway, all right. I think we can probably start just talking about some other moments here. Betsy, what do you got?
Trent, there is a moment where they are trying to find a way to meet Lydia, and they are in Grand Central Station.
Yeah.
And while she is walking through, and Perry starts kind of following her and watching her, there is this absolutely magical moment that happens where you're kind of watching him walk, and all of a sudden you realize the people around him are waltzing. And then we get this wide shot, and there is a fucking disco ball on top of the clock in Grand Central, and hundreds of couples are just waltzing in a circle.
All of a sudden, out of
But you
nowhere.
can see the two of them still walking in a straight line. It was so fucking magical, Trent. I can't describe it with any other word, but there was something so surreal about it and lovely. And I was just like, oh my God, they're just dancing and I'm getting emotional.
Betsy, the way this scene came together is such a great filmmaking thing, because the scene was not in the script. Terry Gilliam had access to Grand Central Station to film another scene. Jeff Bridges was going to encounter somebody else and whatever. But as Terry Gilliam is on the elevated platform, and we've been to Grand Central Station a couple of times now.
Just recently.
And observed what this looks like. And while he was up there, he noticed, wow, just look at the mass of people as they're just brushing past each other, going along their way, and it's kind of like a dance. So he said to himself, wouldn't it be just magical if everybody were to just start dancing together? They look to their left, they look to their right, they find somebody and fall in love.
It's kind of breathtaking.
It's magical. I love it. But another magical moment, Betsy, I think it got the biggest reaction out of both of us. In the same quest to try to get Lydia's attention to get her to come to the video store and meet Robin Williams. Holy shit. They get one of their little friends who they meet underneath the bridge in Central Park covered in dirt and shit. This guy was a Broadway performer, and at one time he just says, what the hell am I even doing this for? And he went a little nutso. That's okay, because they employ him to bring a bundle of balloons wearing, I don't know what the fuck he's wearing.
He's wearing a corset and stockings and high heels and a
Everything.
little hat.
Everything.
And of course, this is played by Michael Jeter, who was one of those actors in the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
Trent, if you ever watched Sesame Street when we were kids, He was on Sesame Street.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I think
The only thing I know him from is The Green Mile.
I don't remember. He's Mr. Something, Mr. Wiggles, Mr. Something. He was also in Sister Act 2. He was in The Green Mile. He's a very iconic face for millennials. And when he shows up and he's just like, is there a mousy woman called Lydia here? No, I have to see her myself. And just starts singing a fucking song from Gypsy on the top of his lungs. I'm just like, I'm obsessed with this. What is happening right now? And he's shaking his little booty and everyone's staring at him.
Everybody's staring.
It was so fantastic. And then he just jumps off and he's like, okay, bye.
Yeah. What do you do after that?
What? Yeah, even his small role in this movie is really moving, where they find him in Central Park and he's saying, I want to be stepped on by a debutante. It's like screaming about that. Leave me here to die in the dirt.
They basically drag him all the way to the mental hospital to try to get him some kind of treatment, because I think he says he's even bleeding here, so he needs to be patched up.
I think he did get stepped on by a horse because he was kind of laying in a horse path.
Yes, but he starts to explain after Jeff Bridges asks him, so did you just gradually become crazy, or what, did it happen all at once? And he says, I was on stage and all of a sudden it came over me. Like, what am I even doing? What is this for? And he just goes down a hole. But then he also mentions, I've seen so many of my friends die.
Yeah, that and all my friends were dying.
In 1991, Betsy, what else could that be referring to?
Right. Well, there's also kind of another religious element to this. He's sort of draped over Jeff Bridges' lap.
Uh-huh.
And it's a statue. There's a very well-known statue of the Virgin Mary, like cradling Jesus.
Oh, okay.
And that's sort of the pose that they're in.
Wow, okay.
So they're sort of getting at that too. So there's definitely some like religious elements, some, Holy Grail.
I read it when he's kind of conducting the group of guys in the hospital later on near the end of the movie. That is directly from a Michelangelo painting.
Probably. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of that in this, because Terry Gilliam is definitely using an artist's eye on this. Like, there's shots at the beginning where when we're being introduced to Jack and we're panning way up above the booth, above the DJ counter.
Yeah.
There's these shadows on the wall that look like bars, like he's in a metaphorical prison.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah.
I assume that's what that is. And then the next shot is above the street, and it's all these yellow taxi cabs, all in these weird angles.
And center frame is him in his limousine.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little moments like that where he had a very clear vision for this. So I'm sure posing people in certain ways, referencing religious paintings and iconography, it's probably drenched in it if we really look for this.
There's probably a whole lot more that I didn't get out of
saying.
the trivia here I'm not a scholar of religious artifacts or art or anything like that, but I'm sure it is everywhere. And of course, it's Terry Gilliam.
Yeah. There's also
the dude made Holy Grail, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, there's also a fucking castle. There's a castle
The
in
castle,
this movie.
yeah.
With stained glass and stuff. Yeah. It's a really good movie, Trent.
Yeah. And Betsy, I think we would be doing a disservice to this movie and this actress to not mention her. The girlfriend, I don't remember what the actress's name is, but the girlfriend was nominated for Best Supporting Actress and she fucking won.
She's great in this. Like, at first, she just seems like a stereotypical,
She's
like
a caricature.
very New York lady.
Yeah.
But she has so much depth. And as we spend more time with her, she is complex, and she goes through an entire roller coaster of her own. She has been supporting this drunk, stupid guy for years, trying to help him. And he just doesn't want to be helped, but she doesn't leave him because she loves him.
There's a moment here where she's by herself in the apartment. She made dinner for the two of them, and he's off gallivanting around with whoever, whether it be Perry or somebody else. She doesn't know because he doesn't communicate with her as to where he is going every night.
She just assumes he's cheating on her.
Sure, because what else does she have to think about? But she is sitting there talking to an empty chair saying, you're not even worthy of my lasagna. She's essentially trying to work herself up to saying these words to him, to his face, but he's never there for him to even hear it.
She's having this fight with nobody.
Yes.
Because she's too scared to have it with him face to face.
And all of these other moments where, she's trying to help out Lydia and trying to go along with this stupid ass scheme with this very horny, dirty man.
And she doesn't understand it. She's like, why are you doing this? This
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Clearly, you have some kind of crusade here that
A crusade, Trent. A fucking crusade.
That was not unintentional. But clearly, Jeff Bridges is on some kind of quest, and she just wants to help him in whatever way that she can. So she goes along with this crazy scheme, and by the end, she's completely bought in. After their double date, after she witnesses these two people kind of flirting at each other and being very awkward and very, very, I don't know what even to say.
She says they're perfect for each other, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
How did this work?
They're drunkenly stumbling back to their apartment, and she had the best time. And I think he did too, which is why the next morning when he tries to break up with her, that it makes it that much more devastating for her and why she has such the reaction. I think that moment right there, that scene where she's getting broken up with, saying, no, you're not going to drag this out over months. You need to tell me right now, is this over or is this not? With fucking tears in her eyes.
If you're going to hurt me, fucking hurt me now. Give it to me straight.
There is such history in the way she is saying that, not just with him, but with other men in her life. And I really think it's a testament to what a lot of women, like modern women, are going through in 1991 and prior to this. You want to be the independent woman. You want to be this, that, and the other. But at the same time, if you love a guy, you love him.
She wants to be loved. And that's what everybody wants. They just want somebody.
Yeah.
And when he says, why do you even care? Why do you put up with me? And she her voice cracks as she says, because I love you.
Yeah.
And he cannot say it back. So that when he shows up at the end of the movie with his kind of downward turned eyes, and he says, so I love you.
So
and she
I figured out that I love you.
Slaps him in the face. Like, hold on. You want to say that to me again? I didn't quite hear that.
Yes.
Slaps him in the face and then starts violently making out against the porno VHS.
I love how many times the VHS tapes just fall everywhere.
It's
in
a great
the entirety
running
of the
gag.
movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Man. And really the last thought I had about just the characters here is one question that I wrote down in my notes. What is the real difference between these two men? At its core, what is the real difference between these men? At one time, Robin Williams was a successful guy. He had a beautiful wife. He had a wonderful job. He was going out for some Chinese food, and his entire life fell apart. And on the flip side of that coin, the Jeff Bridges character was also impacted by this one event in a very different way. It's just that something chemically in the brain happened to Robin Williams that didn't happen to Jeff Bridges.
I think the difference is Jeff Bridges wasn't really happy before. He had success, but he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Versus Robin Williams, who was happy and everything got taken away from him inadvertently because of Jeff Bridges.
Which is why when you mentioned his Good Will Hunting character, that resonates so well. In that movie, he was married to somebody, she got sick, and she died. And his character is asked, well, why don't you get back on the horse and go out there and find yourself another woman? He says, my wife is dead. That's over. There is no other wife. My wife is dead.
But in this movie, he has an opportunity to move on, but it's his brain and his trauma that's stopping him from moving on.
Yeah. It's really an inspiring movie. And I'm glad that we chose this. I'm really glad. It covers some topics here that we certainly do not cover on the show. And Hollywood in general does not talk about mental illness. It does not talk about, the homeless issue. It doesn't talk about recovery all that much in this way. And I'm super happy that Terry Gilliam was the guy who did it, because he could do it in his very whimsical way that makes you come away from this movie actually feeling good.
He surprised the hell out of me. And because he is able to direct with such style, there are moments where he is able to direct with a lot of restraint. as the movie progresses and things are getting better, it becomes much less chaotic. So in those moments where Robin Williams is reverting back to that place, the direction gets a lot more chaotic. And other directors wouldn't have done it the same justice. You were reading that James Cameron was in talks to do it.
He was.
And he would probably have done it okay, but it wouldn't have had the whimsy that this movie has.
Yeah, he said he was going to direct this as a more grounded, down-to-earth caper, as in these two guys coming together to go and steal the Holy Grail.
It would have been way too serious, I think, because he's not a bad director, but it would have lost some of that magic.
Yeah, and I think the word that we keep on saying here, magic, that is all over this movie. So, again, thanks, Terry Gilliam, for this masterpiece of a movie.
Who knew? Who knew, Trent?
All right. That's going to do it for the first episode of JEFFTEMBER. Wow. If you would like to tell us what you thought about these two characters, anybody in the movie really, or the movie itself, email us neverseeitpod@gmail.com. We're going to read an email here we got from our superfan Stephanie about a movie that we covered, was it last summer?
Last summer.
Stephanie finally watched Twisters.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay. Twisters was one of our favorites. It's not a fantastic movie, but we had a great time watching it.
It is for us.
I mean, yeah.
But that's a longer episode you can go listen to on your own.
Go listen to our Twisters episode last year. Anyway, Stephanie says about Twisters, I finally watched Twisters. I liked it. The acting was good. Glenn Powell is awesome. Daisy Edgar Jones was good. I saw her in Fresh, but that's it.
I have no idea what that is.
No idea. I was totally fooled by Kiernan Shipka at the beginning. I was like, oh, I didn't know she was in this. They pulled a scream and I fell for it. Yeah, Anthony Ramos is always fun. The tornadoes were really good. I definitely bought in. The plot was decent. I like that we got a lot of the backstory and more in-depth with the main three. I like that she was able to forgive Javi for teaming up with the evil real estate mogul. It is much more realistic that they team back up for science in the end. That's right.
Science prevails.
That's right. I did not like that Glenn Powell leaves his truck drilled into the ground at the fucking airport. Dude, are you kidding me?
That's just rude.
That's a dick move. What? Jesus Christ. It's the airport. You're expected to get your ass out of there in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get his truck towed, so instead he damages private property.
Public property. That's the airport, goddammit.
I don't know how it works, but in either case, it's damage.
That's right. She says, get her phone number, kiss her outside the airport. Do not inconvenience a shit ton of people just to, quote, get the girl. There are much better ways to do that. We agree with you, Stephanie. She says, I am sad that it took me so long to watch this. My summer has been filled with kids' movies, so hopefully I'll be able to watch more movies for me soon. Love you guys, from Superfan Stephanie.
I want to know if our superfan has seen K-pop Demon Hunters, because that's kind of a kids movie.
Yeah.
And it seems like something she'd enjoy. We haven't watched it yet, but I keep hearing about it, and I want someone to tell me it's incredible.
I'm sure it is. We would just need to sit down and watch it, but I don't think we're going to be covering that for this show.
Not for JEFFTEMBER.
No, certainly not for JEFFTEMBER, but I don't know. We keep on going back and forth about what we're going to do at the end of the year. Obviously, next month, October, will be Never Screaming. We're never going to stop that. But November, December, there's a lot of weird numbers of Sundays in those months. We still got to do our end of year awards special, so I don't know. We might catch up with brand new movies. We might do another series. We haven't decided yet.
But if you want us to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, send us an email, neverseenitpod@gmail.com.
Or if you really want us to watch any movie, that movie or anything, go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where not only will you get all of our other weekly shows over there, but you can also just pay us to watch a movie. Any movie out there. I don't care.
Within reason.
As long as we haven't covered it for the show, sign up at that tier and we will cover the movie. And it will be on this feed, not just private for you. Everybody gets to hear it. But anyway, thanks again, Stephanie, for sending that email. If anybody else would like to send us one, email address is neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can also go to our social media pages and comment on our stuff over there. All the links to the email and all the social media pages are in every episode description. And as long as you're looking at all that stuff, go to your podcast app, go to our show page, and rate us 5 stars, won't you? It'll really help us out. But that's it. That is the end of our first episode of JEFFTEMBER. What are we going to be covering next week?
Normally when we do these actor series, we do it chronologically, but we're not doing that for Jeff Bridges because the number of movies that we wanted to cover are a little all over the place. So we're actually going to go backwards in time to 1984, I think is the year. And we're going to be watching another movie that neither of us has seen. We'll be covering Starman.
Starman. I don't think I have ever actually heard of that movie before we started researching this series, but I'm very excited for that one because, hey, I liked K-Pax, so it must be very similar to that, right? Right.
Sure. Aliens.
All right. Come back next week for Starman. Until then, my name's Trent.
My name is Betsy.
This has been Never Seen It, JEFFTEMBER.
Bye.